Welcome back to the food forest. Today we're going to do one of the most painful things that I have to do, and that is thinning fruit. We're going to do it on the peach trees. I've already done one. I'll take you with me while we do the second one, and I'll show you things you should look for and reasons why you're thinning some fruit versus other fruit, reasons why you're thinning fruit just in general. So let's get going. So you can see I've already been thinning this tree here, and as I was doing it, I thought, you know what, this is something where sometimes it's just easier to watch someone else do it, how much they're thinning, why they're picking some fruit off, and there's some nuances that I think will make an interesting video. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go out and film it. So let's go to the next tree and we'll do it together, at least a little bit of it. Okay, so I'll show you these as a quick before and after. So this is kind of what it looks like before. And then this is what it should look like after, about that density. You know, maybe every couple inches you have one fruit, and it actually depends on the thickness of the support branch. The thinner the branch, obviously, the less fruit you can have. So this is a very, very thin branch. I haven't thinned it yet. And first off, obviously, you're gonna pick off the really small stuff. This stuff is, you know, you're not actually pulling a peach off here. The tree itself is going to prune these anyway. So you're just actually saving it a little time and effort and a little bit of energy to the fruit that you're going to leave. And we're just basically pruning off so that the branch can actually support the peaches when the peaches get loaded up. Now, sometimes you get some hard decisions to make, like say all this cluster at the end. This is way too much fruit for this little tiny branch to hold. And if I let that go and these peaches get big, I could actually snap the branch off, and just based on where it is and the angle of this branch, when this thing breaks off, it's gonna peel bark all down this one. So if I get greedy trying to hold a couple extra peaches on this, I could actually lose this branch, and I could use, this is a last year's growth. This here is from the year before. You can see the different color in the wood. So I could actually lose that branch as well. So if I get greedy here, then, you know, I can do some serious damage to the tree. Now, the force that is existing on this node way back, this is basically the break point. This is the weakest point in the branch. You know, it's strong, but just based on the kinematics, the physics of the situation, any kind of cantilever like this will tend to break right at the crotch where it attaches to something else. So the force that has to get resisted by here is basically the force of the actual object, which is in this case gravity, which is mass times acceleration. So it's mass times the gravitational force. So the bigger the peach, the more force that this has to resist, but it's also times the length, the distance away. That turns the force into a torque, and this thing actually has to resist it's called a moment. It has to resist the moment that torque is creating. It has to resist that, and because, you know, it's working against a very long lever arm, and the forces that it's resisting are very small, you know, the fibers of this joint, they have to be extremely strong to resist just the weight times the distance of this peach. So anytime that you have a thin branch like this, especially, or just in general, if you can preferentially prune away, and I know this is painful because those are some 2 great peaches, 3 great peaches. Anytime you can preferentially prune away from the end of the branch, it's going to greatly reduce how much this thing pulls down and the force that it puts on the joint. So you get less splitting, and I know it's difficult to do that because those were 3 great peaches, but just the location of where they were on that branch, I don't like it, and I don't want to basically get greedy for a couple peaches this year and then split a branch that's going to produce for a long time. Okay, so as we're thinning this one out, we're taking all the small ones, and we'll do that first, and then we're going to look at something else that's going on here. Actually, here we have a little caterpillar, and this is a gypsy moth. So I'm actually getting rid of him. I know that I, for the most part, leave a lot of nature up. Gypsy moths are a bit interesting and different. So I do want to stay on top of it. I'll never get them all, especially in a season like this where they're really bad. So if I see one, I don't mind getting rid of it. I'm never going to get them all, like I say, and I'm not going to spray for them. So I have that. Just while we're here, actually, I noticed this. Something that I can do while I'm out here is look for peach leaf curl. Now this, I can pinch this off because it was only the end of the leaf. This one was the full leaf, and this one here is the full leaf. And I take those off as I go, and unfortunately now I got to stop the video and I have to go in and I have to get rid of this because I can't drop this down and I can't touch the tree anymore. I can't touch the leaves because I'll spread the fungal spores that's in these leaves. So I have to go wash my hands and get rid of this. I'll just do a quick little search for any more. And if you stay on top of it, this is something that, you know, if you stay on top of, then you really greatly reduce the problems that you have. I got one here too. If you're slightly lazy about this and you let it go too far, especially into a rain, the rain will really knock up all those spores and spread them, and you will lose every single leaf on your peach tree. So this is something that you want to be doing daily in the spring, coming out and looking at your peach trees and pulling off any affected leaves and discarding them from your site, and being really careful about not touching other leaves with your contaminated hand. So I'll do a quick little sweep. I don't really see too much more, and we'll get rid of these. I do this every day, and if you're wondering why the tree is a little thin on leaves, it's because I do it every day. Unfortunately, Poppy is going to lose every single leaf on his tree because it is affecting every single leaf. You really have to get on this super early as soon as the leaves start coming out and stay on it. So we'll come back and we'll finish the thinning. That was a bit of a 2-minute tangent, so I hope it didn't bore you, but peach leaf curl is a real deal and you got to stay on top of it or else it'll really, really hurt you. Okay, so got rid of all that and then washed my hands, and we're back outside now. If I see any more, I'll try to skip it because I got to get this video done, and I'll come back out maybe at lunch. This is basically my morning before work. So let's talk about a couple other things about thinning fruit. And it was on the branch we were just doing right here. And I want to talk about when you get a cluster formation like this. And this is where you feel bad that you're thinning fruit, but you're not thinning fruit. You're not killing fruit. You're actually saving fruit. So if I let these three grow, then there's just physically not enough room for these things to get bigger. They'll get bigger, they'll crowd each other out, and especially where they touch, you're gonna have a ton of moisture and fungal diseases. And you're gonna lose peaches, and you're gonna create just more problems for your peaches. So in general, where you can remove one and create airflow for two, then that's good. And in this case, I'm even gonna get rid of this one as well and just go with the one, because this is a small branch and I'm gonna have to thin this out even more because it's physically too much load on this tiny little branch. And again, we're gonna work on removing from the tip. So these two are about the same. This one's closer to the inside of the branch. So I'll remove the one that's gonna create slightly more force on the branch. And this is basically what we're gonna do the whole way down. These two would probably be okay, but remember, this peach is gonna get big and this one's gonna get big too. They're gonna probably end up touching on the inside. It's just better to remove them. And one more thing about when you're removing these fruit like that, you know, sometimes it's easy to remove the small ones because those are simple. They're not gonna turn into a fruit anyways. But you have to also remember that this branch is a pipe, and it can only physically push so much nutrient and sap out to the fruit. And then, you know, especially the further away it is from the trunk, it has to deal with the same physical realities that anything does. And as it's pushing this along, it's getting resistance. And the further away it has to push, the more resistance it has to overcome. So, especially on a long branch far away, you really want to thin the fruit out because there's just, you know, a branch this thin, that far from the trunk, it can only physically push so much nutrient into these peaches. And if you thin, you know, these could all be left. You know, maybe I go with that one gone and I go with three. But I have to remember, this is a very thin branch and it's far from the trunk. So if I can pull, ouch, right, 2 more away, then the 3 peaches themselves probably would have ended up being very small peaches with mostly pit. Now I can probably get enough energy into this peach that it'll be a good sized fruit, and my overall yield will actually increase. So when you're thinning your fruit, remember that. Remember that you're not hurting yourself. You're not pulling fruit off, as painful as it may seem. You're not losing fruit. You're not killing fruit. Oh, great. Now I got to go wash my hands again. You're actually saving fruit and creating more abundance, because the fruit you have left will be bigger, juicier, sweeter, and your overall yield, your kilogram yield, your pounds yield off of this tree will actually go up if you remove peaches from the tree. Now, one more thing, just to head off some questions that I might get. There are no seeds in this yet. There's no peach pit to plant. So someone might ask, can I go plant these? You can, but you're just burying organic matter, and the worms will eat them. So you're not really getting any benefit. You can just drop these down on the ground. And someone else might ask, if I drop them down, will I get fruit flies? And the answer is not really, because there's not any sugar in this yet. The peach has to do that as the fruit ripens. So there's really no sugars in this yet. It's basically, you can almost treat it like a wood chip that you're dropping on the ground, and you're just mulching with your peaches. So yes, you can just drop them down. You don't have to go collect them. You don't have to go pick them up. You don't have to worry about any kind of pests that you're propagating, because they're really not even in there yet. So yeah, so thin your peach trees out. It's very painful, and but it will overall increase your yield. And most importantly is that you're not going to enter into this cycle of extreme bounty on one year and then complete dearth on the next year. So you're going to balance your fruit set out a little bit. If you let this much fruit set on a tree, then it's just so taxing on the tree that next year the tree is going to spend a full season recovering. So get out there, prune and thin your fruit on your trees. It's a little painful, but it's very necessary. And as you're doing it, double check for peach leaf curl and get rid of it. Go wash your hands so you don't spread it around to all the other leaves. And get out there and enjoying your food forest. You planted it to enjoy it. So get out there often and be outside and a part of the natural ecosystem that you're creating. Now, I should also mention, the reason why I decided to come out here and prune the peaches is because it's raining. And the reason why I'm out at my peaches when it's going to rain today is I want you to associate the word rain with peach leaf curl. So when you know it's going to rain, you should, if you can and have time, you should pop out to your peach trees and you should double check them for any peach leaf curl, because it's in those rainfall events that curl is going to spread. So the reason I even came out here in the first place was to check for peach leaf curl, and then I saw how overcrowded these were. I remember mentioning in a previous video that I was going to thin them, so then I decided I'd come out and thin. But the reason I came out is rain, and then it triggered my mind to think of, I better go check on peach leaf curl. So I want you to do the same thing. If you hear that it's going to rain, I want you to immediately think, I should go check my trees. And it's that splashing of rain that splashes and spreads those spores everywhere. It hits the leaf and those spores go flying everywhere. And you can even get one tree's spores flying, getting picked up by the wind, and then carrying over and depositing on another tree nearby. Look at this cluster here, just so much fruit. Have to prune it down to maybe 2 in that whole cluster. Just feels so bad. Feels so bad, but it's so necessary. They'll just end up touching, and then you're gonna get all these fungal problems happening. So you're picking 1 or 2 fruit per cluster, that's it. Big cluster of 4 on this branch here behind. And just remember, if you feel bad about doing this, the tree's gonna do it anyway. So whether or not you do it or the tree does it, It doesn't matter. And you doing it, you can preferentially prune off fruit that are too close to each other, but you can also prevent the tree from wasting all that energy into dead fruit, you know, that are either going to cause problems down the road or just simply will get cut off by the tree anyways, regardless. You know, so there was a certain amount of energy that went into this, and now it's just sitting on the ground. So had I maybe come out and done this slightly sooner, then it wouldn't have even put that energy into it. Now you could do it when they flower, but you're taking a little risk because you don't know what fruit's going to set, and then also, you know, that's valuable pollen for the insects. So I think it's always nice if you can wait until the fruit sets, and then you can see a little better. And plus, you know, the bees got some nice pollen